and what I'm tracking here is on May 16th, as you highlight, Russia launched a satellite into low Earth orbit that we assess is likely a counter space weapon, presumably capable of attacking other satellites in low Earth orbit.
This is my video update on this Wednesday midday, May the 22nd. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with the breaking news that Ireland, Spain, and Norway will recognize Palestine as a free, independent state. Big news from Ireland, Norway, and Spain. At first, the news was that Norway would recognize Palestine as a state, and then we got the word that Ireland and Spain were going to be joining Norway in recognizing the Palestinian state. So the narrative from the collective West, NATO, Stoltenberg, Blinken, Kirby, the narrative is that Russia already lost the conflict with Ukraine, or the proxy war with the collective West. Putin has already lost because Finland and Sweden joined NATO. That's the narrative with Russia and with Putin, right? That's what Blinken and Kirby always tell us. Putin already failed in his objectives of trying to break up NATO, because NATO has added 2 new members, Finland and Sweden. So does the same argument hold true for Israel and Palestine? 3 countries have now recognized the Palestinian state. Can we apply the same logic? I don't know, just asking. I'm just trying to navigate the collective West narrative. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not saying one is equivalent to the other, but I think you can make the jump from the argument that Blinken and Kirby give us about Putin and Russia's failure with regards to NATO, and I think you can apply it to the fact that you now have 3 countries, European countries, recognizing the Palestinian state. So, Blinken, since we're on the topic of Blinken, he was speaking to Congress the other day, and Blinken said that the Biden administration is going to support sanctions against the ICC, the International Criminal Court, because the ICC is requesting an arrest warrant for Israeli officials, Netanyahu and the defense minister, as well as Hamas leaders. But the Biden White House is upset about the arrest warrants which could be issued against Israeli officials. And so the Biden White House, according to Blinken, is ready to place sanctions on the ICC. They are for it. Karim Khan, the Wrath of Khan. I imagine when Blinken got the news that Khan is going to move forward with a request for an arrest warrant, against Netanyahu. I imagine Blinken was in the White House and he got the news and he said, Khan! In reference to the Star Trek movie. If you haven't seen The Wrath of Khan, then you won't get that one. But if you've seen The Wrath of Khan, then you'll get that one. Blinken, Khan! Oh, boy. Blinken's no Captain Kirk, that's for sure. Anyway, Graham. I mentioned Graham yesterday that he was plenty mad about the ICC warrant. Let me get in the shade here. My God, it is hot. So Graham, he was very upset with the news about the warrant, possible arrest warrant against Israel. Graham said, if they come after Israel, they'll come after us. That is what Graham said during this discussion in Congress with Blinken, talking about the ICC warrant. And once again, Olga Bezova on Twitter, she put up this post with a tweet from Lindsey Graham when the ICC said that they will issue an arrest warrant for Putin, and a recent tweet from Lindsey Graham with the news of the ICC warrant for Netanyahu. And here is what Graham said with regards to the warrant for Putin. The decision by the ICC to issue an arrest warrant for Putin is a giant step in the right direction for the international community. It is more than justified by the evidence. Fast forward to ICC warrant for Netanyahu, and here's what Graham posted on Twitter X. This outrageous decision is truly a slap in the face of the independent judiciary in Israel, which is renowned for their independence. I will be issuing a detailed statement regarding the outrageous actions by the ICC against the state of Israel, and I will feverishly work with colleagues on both sides of the aisle in both chambers to levy damning sanctions against the ICC. So that was Graham's tweet back then with Putin, and Graham's tweet today with Netanyahu. Very upset with the ICC now. ICC was my friend, now ICC not so much my friend. Graham. Blinken said during his testimony to Congress, he said that Iran is better off with President Raisi dead. That is what the chief diplomat, the Secretary of State of the United States, that is what he said when he was being pressed by Ted Cruz, I believe, to give his thoughts about the death of Iranian President Raisi, whose funeral, I believe, is today in Tehran. And I saw some video of the amount of people gathering for the funeral of Raisi in Tehran, and it looked like millions and millions of people in the streets of Tehran to honor President Raisi, not to protest, to honor, to attend the funeral of President Raisi. Anyway, the number one diplomat in the United States decided to go on record and say that Iranians are better off without Raisi. That is what Blinken said. Blinken was also interrupted, I believe, 3 times as he was speaking to Congress by protesters, pro-Palestinian, anti-war, against the war in Gaza protesters. He was interrupted 3 times during his testimony. And when you look at Blinken's face as he was being interrupted by the protesters, he doesn't really care. He doesn't really care at all. You can tell when you look at Blinken. He's talking and then he has to stop because of the protesters in the back. And it pans, like the video goes to Blinken as he stopped talking. And you can tell that he doesn't really care. He looks a little uncomfortable, like a little bit, but pretty much he doesn't give an F. It's obvious. Anyway, that was Blinken speaking with Ted Cruz, as Ted Cruz was pressing Blinken about Iran and ICC. The reason Ted Cruz was pressing Blinken is because the Biden White House it sent out its condolences for the death of President Raisi. Standard for the U.S. government to do that. That's what Blinken said. He said it's pretty much standard procedure. When a world leader passes away, he said, whether they're friendly or whether they're enemies, he said that the United States it's standard procedure to issue condolences. But then he said that Iran is better off without Raisi. And then Blinken told Ted Cruz, he said, Ted, by the way, I happen to have my guitar right here next to me, and let me play you a little ditty that I picked up when I was in Kiev. It's called Rockin' in the Free World. He didn't do that. He did not do that. Which way should I go? Oh, where is there more shade? There's more shade that way, but I'll walk this way. So in Ukraine right now, they have the mobilization underway, and we are getting more and more images and videos from the streets of Odessa, where everything looks pretty empty. The city center, empty. Shopping centers are empty. And it's obvious that the military-aged men, they don't want to go out onto the streets because they're afraid of being snapped up, thrown into a van, and sent to the front lines. You got to wonder, how long can this go on? How long can the streets continue to remain empty? How long can the economy of Odessa, of Ukraine, take this? So the EU has a solution. The EU has a solution to boost the morale of Ukrainians. And the EU solution, according to Politico, is to fast track Ukraine into the European Union. Get the talks going for Ukraine's entrance into the EU. By June, according to Politico, Ukraine and EU push to start membership talks in June. Hungary faces renewed pressure to drop its opposition to Kiev's accession bid. Opening the talks would bring a morale boost to Ukraine, which has been fighting a full-scale Russian invasion for more than 2 years and has long aspired to join the Western Bloc. The European Union will take anybody club. That is the European Union. We will take anybody as long as you hate Russia. If you hate Russia and you're ready to fight Russia and you're ready to go to war with Russia, then the door is wide open. Come on into the European Union. The quicker they let Ukraine into the EU, the quicker the EU collapses. It's that simple. I've read reports saying that they're also going to try and fast track Moldova into the European Union. Keep in mind that under normal circumstances, or let's just say the EU of 15 years ago, 20 years ago, would not even consider allowing the Ukraine or Moldova of today, even a Ukraine without the conflict would not have a chance of getting into the European Union. Wouldn't happen. It would not happen. Because both of those countries, Moldova and Ukraine, even under the best circumstances, even when they were at their best, did not fulfill the requirements that a country is supposed to meet in order to enter the European Union. And I'm talking mainly about the fiscal, the financial requirements. They would never get in, but they're going to fast track them in now. And they say that Hungary is the problem. They say that Hungary is resisting. I think Hungary should approve this. This is Hungary's way out of the EU prison. The quicker you let Ukraine in, the quicker the EU dissolves, and the quicker Hungary can be free. I don't know, maybe free to join BRICS. I don't know. Just a thought. But when you think about what the EU is doing by fast-tracking Ukraine, it's pretty sinister, isn't it? Because what they're basically saying is they want to allow Ukraine to enter the EU in order to give it a morale boost. What do they mean by morale boost? They want Ukraine to continue to fight Russia on their behalf because they see that morale is very low and they're saying, let's give them something so that they can continue to fight Russia. What can we offer them? We've given them everything. Money, weapons. What more can we give them so that they can continue to fight Russia? Okay, let's just give them membership into the EU. Why not? Just give it to them if it boosts their morale for another 6 months, if it helps with mobilization, if it helps recruit more Ukrainians to go to the front line, and just give them the EU membership. Why not? Just give it to them, and maybe they'll get a boost to some confidence to fight Russia for another 6 months. That's basically what they're saying. It's very sinister what the European Union is doing here. Very, very sinister. Of course, you could make the argument that what the EU is doing as well is they're preparing for an eventual Ukraine government in exile. Maybe a Ukraine government that's based in Lvov, or maybe a Ukraine government that's based in Berlin or Latvia, Lithuania. That seems to be the place where many of the government in exiles, the Juan Guaido, the East European Juan Guaidos, they seem to gravitate towards Lithuania or Latvia, like what's her name from Belarus, Tikhanovskaya Svetlana. So maybe that's what they're preparing. And if they put Ukraine into the European Union, then they can continue to funnel money into the government in exile, wherever it may be located, and keep the grift going for another 10, 15, 20, 30 years, create more and more funds for the Ukraine government in exile that is an EU member, and all the EU member states have to give money to this government in exile, and 10% for the big guy for 10, 20, 30 years, right? Very sinister what they're doing. But at the end of the day, I think that's fast-tracking Ukraine. When all is said and done, when you fast-track Ukraine into the European Union, and Moldova as well, but Moldova's a smaller country, but still not ready to enter the EU. You fast-track these countries into the European Union, it's game over. It's game over for the EU in 5 to 10 years. They won't be able to support these two countries into the European Union. Anyway, that's my thoughts there. That's the article from Politico. And this is a good way to transition to the next story. And that is the WEF, from the European Union to the World Economic Forum. And we got the news yesterday. while we were doing the live stream with the great Robert Barnes, me and Alexander on the Duran, a fantastic live stream, 2.5 hours of geopolitics. And Robert opened up the show by letting everybody know that Klaus Schwab, it looks like he's gone, retiring, leaving his post as chairman, president, ruler of the WEF. Klaus Schwab, them bugs, eat them bugs, is going to retire. He is going to take on a role of non-executive chairman, I believe, is what he is going to do. And he is going to look for a successor to run the day-to-day for the WEF. And Klaus Schwab, he will be stepping down from the WEF, according to media reports. This is not 100% confirmed, by the way. I believe the publication that broke this story is Semfor or Semaphore. I'm not too familiar with them, but they broke this news. And Klaus Schwab will be announcing his retirement from the WEF in 2025 at the next Davos meeting. I read somewhere that he has to get the approval of the Swiss government as well for him to step down, which is kind of odd, kind of weird, huh? That the government of Switzerland has to actually sign off on this. What does that tell you? Schwab, 86, did not reportedly name his successor, but said that over the last year, the group's executive board, under the leadership of President Borge Brende, has taken full executive responsibility. A former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Norway, Brende, 58, has been WEF president since 2017. So Brende could be the next chairman of the WEF. I don't know much about him. I don't know anything about him. But another name that is floating around to succeed Klaus Schwab, it's not Barack Obama. After I tell you the name, you're going to wish it was Barack Obama. But take a guess. Take a wild guess who many reports are saying is going to take over for Klaus Schwab. Take a wild guess. Who is the most sinister globalist out there in the world today? Who is it? Who is it? It's not Obama, not Clinton, not American, but close. Not American, but close. Tony Blair. Yep, Tony Blair. Breaking, Tony Blair has emerged as the leading candidate to replace Klaus Schwab as chairman of the World Economic Forum. Wow. You know, in Greece, we always have a saying, when a leader steps down or is replaced, in Greece, we say the next guy is always worse. Or the next guy or girl is always worse. That is what we say. It doesn't mean that the next person is going to be smarter or more clever. They're just going to be worse. And so we'll see. We'll see if Blair does indeed take over for Klaus Schwab. Oh boy. It's going to be eat them bugs with a British accent. I won't even try to do it. Oh boy, Tony Blair. They never go away, do they? They never, ever go away. So I saw this in my Twitter feed from Mario Nafal. U.S. national debt hits 34.7 trillion. U.S. debt to GDP ratio, 1960, 52%, 1980, 34%, 2000, 57%, 2024, 124.7%. 124% debt to GDP. That is red alarm, big news. This is very worrying if you're the United States. Very worrying. I remember when Greece's debt to GDP ratio started to really soar. I believe at one point in time it hit, help me out, everyone that's watching from Greece. I think it hit in 2010, 2011, it hit something like 200% debt to GDP, and it was lights out for Greece. Lights out. That was it. Economy meltdown. 100% is panic mode. 124%, it's not good. This is the big news. You want to know what the big news is? This is it. This is the big news, everybody. Anyway, let's now get into clown world territory. We're going to ease our way into clown world territory. It's nice and cool right here with the trees. Is that a birdhouse? Yeah, it's a little birdhouse right there. Birdhouse number 19. Where do you live, Mr. Bird? I'm in birdhouse number 19. Come on over. Oh, boy. So let's talk about Annalena Barbach. I mentioned yesterday in my video that she was in Kiev. She made a surprise visit to Kiev, an unannounced visit to meet with Alinsky. And Annalena Barbach yesterday, she said that Germany considers Zelensky a legitimate president of Ukraine even after the end of his 5-year term in office. This was stated by German Foreign Minister Annalena Barbach. It is Russia that is playing a treacherous game and questioning the legitimacy of Zelensky because Ukraine cannot hold elections in the conditions of war, Barbach told journalists in Kiev. I understand that argument, Annalena 360, but if Ukraine cannot hold elections during a time of war, then how did Russia recently hold elections during a time of war on the new regions that are now part of the Russian Federation? Zaporozhye, Lugansk, Donetsk. How did Russia do this? Crimea held elections just recently, just like a month and a half ago. So how can Russia hold elections in areas where a conflict is going on, in areas that are being shelled by the Ukraine military every other day? But Russia held elections. So how come Ukraine wasn't able to hold elections? I don't understand, Annalena. I just don't understand. Please explain. Anyway, Annalena was in Kiev to receive an award. She got the Order of Merit medal from Alinsky, that is right, the illegitimate ruler of Ukraine, a man who is no longer president of Ukraine. He gave the medal to Annalena Barbach. I believe this was for her bravery in Nikolaev and Odessa when she saved the lives of so many Bild journalists because a Russian drone was about to pounce on them, and Annalena, she led all of the journalists into the car and into safety. Remember that? I'm just joking. I don't think that's what happened. Even though the Bild journalists, they made it out to be like that Annalena saved the day because a Russian drone was hovering over them. But no, that's not what happened. Bild would like you to think that's what happened, but I don't think that's what happened. Anyway, she got a medal. She got a medal from Alinsky. So Alinsky gave her the medal. This medal is for you, Miss Barbach. It is the Order of Merit. Congratulations. And with this medal, I want you to know that we will deliver to you 3 cases of Alinsky number 5. That is right, Annalena. You can now have Alinsky number 5 with you in Germany, and you will always smell intoxicating. Congratulations. Let's stick with Annalena because we are getting reports. I can't confirm this. I cannot confirm this, but we are getting reports that Annalena is suing a man in Germany for posting on Twitter X that Annalena is, let me see here, the world's dumbest foreign minister. That's not me. That's not me saying this. That is what this alleged lawsuit from Annalena to this German man from, I believe, from Bavaria, a 58-year-old Bavarian, described Annalena Barbach on Twitter X as the world's dumbest foreign minister. Once again, that's not me, Annalena, that's saying this. This is this Bavarian man that you're suing. I think you're the smartest. That's my opinion. I think you're smart and brilliant. And you're 720i. You're not even 360 in my eyes. You are 720i, Annalena. Let's see here. The man claimed in his post that Barbach was hindering peace talks by supporting arms deliveries to Ukraine and was therefore responsible for the deaths of many people. In his opinion, she should like Russian President Vladimir Putin. So that's what angered Annalena. the statement from this guy saying that she should like Russian President Putin. I don't think it was the fact that he called her the world's dumbest, but the fact that he said that she should like Putin. How dare you say that I should like Putin? I am going to sue you. Oh, boy. All right. I can't confirm this story, by the way. It's on some news outlets, but I'm not 100% on this one, but I'll go with it. We're playing fast and loose in our Clown World segment. And finally, from a viewer in Bulgaria, I can't confirm this story either, but someone sent me this letter from the Atlantic Council in Bulgaria, which is appealing to all freedom-loving Bulgarians to donate your old cell phones, tablets, and PCs to Ukraine so that they can use the microchips. Not a joke. I can't confirm this letter. I can't confirm this story from the Atlantic Council in Bulgaria, but this is the information that I received. Once again, I'm not 100% on this, but it is kind of interesting because all this time we were being told that it was Russia that was removing the microchips from the washing machines and using them in tanks and airplanes and fighter jets, as Ursula was telling us. And now it looks like Bulgaria is asking citizens of Bulgaria to send their cell phones, their old cell phones, tablets, and PCs to the Atlantic Council in Bulgaria. Every little help is indispensable to the heroic Ukrainian people. Every single old cell phone, tablet, or computer takes us one step closer to victory and peace. If possible, please send the equipment at your own expense. Otherwise, transport expenses will be covered by members of the Atlantic Council of Bulgaria. I don't even know, does this organization even exist? Is this real news or is this fake news that I'm reporting? I don't know. What else? Let's get to a real update. This is a real update, and it comes from Gonzalo Lira's father, who sent an email to various people, not only to me, but to various content creators and journalists that covered Gonzalo's trial. And Gonzalo Lira's father, he said that he submitted, let me get a part of the email out, just to make sure I'm getting it right. In February 2024, February 2nd, he requested information from the U.S. State Department under the Freedom of Information Act. The request was for all documents and communications, including draft documents prepared by the State Department, officials or employees, including Blinken, Newland, and Ambassador Brink, referencing Gonzalo Lira Jr. since January 1st, 2022. And it was marked by the State Department as case number F2024058835. And the estimated delivery, according to this message, was to be in March 2024, the latest, I believe, June 2024. And Gonzalo Lira Sr. got an update that this Freedom of Information Act will now be delayed to a new delivery date of June 2025. So they're pushing back the delivery of all the communications of the State Department in reference to Gonzalo Lira. Supposed to be delivered now, last month to June, to this month coming, but it's now going to be pushed back 1 year. Anyway, I just thought I would give that update to everybody that's interested. Anyway, that's the video, theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. Use the code everyday15. Pick up some Duran merchandise, 15% off. Take care.